Technology Branch, batch of 2K21.
And my name is Anush Kumar Varnawal of batch 2K21 from Information Technology Branch.
We are thrilled to have every one of you join us today. Thank you for being here.
So, without any further delay, let us welcome our esteemed speaker for today's session, Salesh Anand sir, Department of Electronic and Communication Engineering of batch 2K18. Currently, he is serving as Technical Solution Engineer at Google. Today, he is here with us to illuminate the path to off-campus placement like never before. With his remarkable experiences and personal insight, Sales sir will unravel the strategy that led him to off-campus placement, ensuring you are equipped with knowledge and skill to navigate your placement journey successfully. Welcome, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. Hi everyone. I'm excited to be here to be taking this placement preparation webinar for all of you. We have almost 100 people here, 102 now. We crossed a century. I never expected these many people to be frank. So let's start this with a question. Should we do this in Hindi or in English? Which language are you all comfortable in? I can quickly make a poll.
So you can use both.
Okay, you should have a poll in the chat. You have 2 minutes to vote. Also, before starting, I want this session to be interactive, which is what every person giving a webinar says, but I really mean it. So please ask questions, interrupt me anytime. You can raise your hand anytime you have any question, okay? So more people are towards English, so I'll use more English and less Hindi today then. I see people are still joining. Okay, we'll wait for 1 more minute for people to join and then we'll start. Okay, let's start. So, as you all know, my name is Shailesh. You can access this slide deck by going to this link. Okay. So you all can see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
this is the link. Ritesh, just send this link in the chat for so that everyone can access the slide deck with me.
Yes, sir,
Okay,
sir.
yeah. Yeah. So now my slide deck contains a lot of links to various courses and resources, which you can just click on the slide and then you will be taken there. So use that because it will be difficult to share so many links otherwise. Let's move forward. About me. So as you all know, I passed out from BIT Sindri in 2022 branch Electronics and Communication Engineering. I'm currently serving as Technical Solutions Engineer at Google. I'm a web developer and I love Linux. Okay, I think this slide, I made some changes to this slide deck. Okay, this is the updated one. So here are links to my GitHub and LinkedIn. If you want to peek around, see my work, that's the place. So what are the two most important things in placement process? And don't cheat since you have the slide deck. So honestly, tell me, what do you think helps you most in the placement process? Someone says DSA and Dev. Any more answers? CV. Okay, let's reveal the answer. Your resume and your knowledge. These are the two things that help you the most. And I believe that your resume is a reflection of your knowledge and your work. Confidence, of course, is important. But what helps you the most is your resume. It will get you selected, it will get you shortlisted, it will get you rejected if it is not good. And once you are shortlisted, your knowledge takes you further. So the role of the resume is to get you to the interview, and then your knowledge takes over. If that is clear, let's move forward. Your resume. Your resume is a reflection of your work and your knowledge. According to ChatGPT, your resume is a powerful reflection of your achievements and the incredible possibilities that await. I threw in Bard in here because I work at Google. Your resume is a story of your accomplishments. Tell it well. So here is the outline of my resume. Not necessarily everyone's resume, but this is what I used. You have your name and other details, education, experience, skills, projects, and achievements. Achievements is small because I did not achieve much to show in my resume. So education is something you have already completed or are about to complete. Like there will be nothing more than BTech in your education, which you have already started. So this part is pretty much clear, right? We have already been there, done that, completed it. At least at the time of placement, we will have completed it. Now, skills and projects come from your learning. Whatever you learn, you put in your skills. And skills don't matter if there are no projects to show your skills. So these both go hand in hand. Whatever projects you mention, the skills used in those projects should be listed here, ideally. It might not be possible to list all the skills, but you should have your most prominent skills listed in your skill section. Now, your skills and projects help you get experience in internships, because since we are applying for our first placement, we don't have any work experience, but we have internship experience that we can mention here. Right. So your experience will contain all the internships. If there are more than what you can fit here, you can include your most recent or your most prominent experience that you believe should be communicated to your employer. And then there is the achievement section. Whatever is not communicated in these four sections and you want them to be communicated, those can reside in your achievement sections, such as had won a coding competition, won a hackathon, or anything. Keep it relevant to the role you are applying, to the domain you are applying to. So for IT, mention your IT field achievements only. Don't mention that you won a cricket match in the branch-wise tournament that happens every year in BIT. Okay. Any doubts still here? Any doubts? Please ask. I don't like awkward silence. So you can unmute yourself also. No doubts? Yeah, which kind of project? So, as I told you, your learning is what is going to be reflected in skills and projects. So, whatever you learn, try to make a project using that. So, if you learn Python, try to make a project in Python. If you learn Node.js, try to make a project in Node.js. If you're applying for an IT role, mentioning a purely electrical project may not help much. Remember that. You will be asked to create a project in your final semester, and that does not help much. So if your employer sees that you have projects related to chemical engineering in your resume for an IT role, they'll think that you don't have enough projects to show. So you mentioned your core 8 semester project. So try not to do that. Keep keep IT field projects, and you should have enough time to make projects. If you don't, then try to make some quick projects. You will find videos on YouTube making projects, like walking you through building a project. You can do that to have a quick project. Also try to pick some innovative ones rather than picking the projects that are in everyone's resume. That makes your resume stand out. So in summary, try to keep something unique, have ample time to make projects, start early. If you don't get enough projects, find a YouTube video that has an interesting project, build it yourself. Don't just copy paste it. Trust me, that will be caught. Make it yourself. Try to follow the video and make it and place it here. Okay. Uh, for web development, which kind of project we should make? For web development, try to make a full stack project and try to build something that sounds interesting. So like, don't make another to-do application. We all start by learning a to-do manager application in any language, but keeping it here would send an impression to your interviewer that you just followed your course, and whatever you built during the course you have put here, which shows that you did not put much effort into it. So try to keep projects that are interesting and projects that are a bit rare. Your project should not be found in everyone else's resume also. Okay. Someone asked me what kind of project did I make during my first year. Let me see. What did I make during my first year? Yeah, I made Computester. I'll send you the link. So it actually does run some test again against my code for competitive programming. And it was in my resume for a while. Okay, moving further. So to build your resume, now this is one possible path that I'm going to give you. This is not the only path. Please remember that. Feel free to modify it, change bits of it, replace some courses. I'll show you some courses in further slides. So that is not the only path, but that is kind of what I followed. And I can only give you one path to in this webinar. What type of project should I do for EC or core? So for core, you can make IoT projects in EC. Also, I have idea about electronics and IT. I don't have much idea about other branches like mining, chemical, etc. So for those, maybe Ritesh, you can have someone from core who would be willing to give. Okay. Learn Git and GitHub. This is important because this is what will show off your work, your projects. Those will all be hosted on GitHub. So if you media for programmers where you can show off your projects and your source code. Then now what I have built here is pertaining to web development. There are some reasons for it. Primarily because I think it is easy to learn and it looks cool on your resume. It's easy to showcase basically. So you can leave a link to your deployed project and your interviewer clicks on that link and is instantly taken to that project. So that helps you bring out your skills in a better way. But feel free to make projects on something else. Use AI. That is the craze right now. ChatGPT, AI, and stuff. So do what you like. And if you can't think of anything, go with web development. It is a very good field. Learn HTML and CSS basics. I'll have courses in the next slide. I have shared my GitHub profile. So Nisha, if you are asking projects that I did, feel free to stalk my GitHub profile. Okay, so you will learn HTML and CSS basics. Then you will learn a programming language. Python or JavaScript is what I would go with. And again, this is one possible path, not the ultimate path. So these are my biased opinions. Keep that in mind. Okay, then okay, so then we learn web development. So Python and JavaScript are general purpose languages that can be used for anything, but we want to use them for web development. So first we learn the language, then we learn how to make web projects in those languages. And by web development, I mean full stack web development, which includes backend and front end both. Okay, Revti is asking me, will AI boom collapse after a while, just as crypto? AI, the current point, as if AI freezes at the current point where it is still changing a lot of a lot of workflows and a lot of jobs. So if stays at that point, it has made a quite a lot of difference. So it may go bust, it may go further, it will boom, I don't know. But at the current point at which it is making a lot of difference. So we learn, so okay. Currently we have seen a programming language. We learned basics of that programming language. Then we move to web development. We learn how to make web projects in those languages. Next step is DSA and React.js. So React is optional, but if you want to make really great projects that anyone will just go to the website and be impressed by, you should use React.js, and it is not very hard to learn also. So if you have the time, try to learn React.js and use it, make great projects with it. Sixth is DSA. I've kept it at last because it does help in off-campus placements. On campus, not every company asks you DSA questions, so it is at last. Okay, so for Git and GitHub, this is, I think, a 1.5 hour video that goes through Git and GitHub. This is a great video that I watched a recent while ago, and you can use this to learn Git and GitHub. Also, keep in mind that just watching a video does not mean you have learned it. You have to use something to say that you have learned this. Okay. This is a 1 hour video. Now what do we have? Okay. Then we have HTML, CSS, and basics of JavaScript. So to learn this, I have two courses. One is a guided course and one is a playlist on YouTube. So going further, for many topics, we'll have guided courses as well as YouTube videos. What I mean by a guided course is, let's go to this. When we go here, we click on preview course. You have preview access only, but this course is open source, so anyone can access it. Similar to Coursera, if you have experience with that. So we have levels here, level 1, level 2, level 3. In each level, you have some targets, milestone targets. So if you click here, it will have text, no video. You have to read this. Next, there are some instructions and there are some videos embedded. So it is a combination of text as well as videos. And there are some assignments also that you have to complete. You can't submit assignments here because this is just a preview, but even this will help you a lot. And at the end of this course, you will have a basic project. I would not suggest you to keep those projects in your resume. Try to modify it a little, then put it in your resume. To the GitHub where the source code is there, and the other link to the deployed website. Your employer can go there, see it, see for themselves how good it is, and evaluate you on that. Okay, so what project should I build? My answer to this is build a project to solve a problem that you are facing. For example, I wanted to do DSA, and when we submit code on the website, it tells me how many cases passed, how many cases failed. So suppose I see a test case that is failing. I would copy it and then improve my code, run it on that test case. I would test it manually. It runs. But in the process, I might have introduced other bugs or edge cases which were passing previously. So now I have to test every test case that I have discovered while solving this problem. To solve this, I created Computester, in which you can throw all your test cases in one file, run a command, it will run all the test cases, just like it is done on the coding websites. So that is one project I built. Another project I built was so in the hostel when we used to live, we paid for each other for small things, like in canteen or somewhere we used to lend money out. That is called a debt, udhar. So it was difficult for me to keep track of the debts. So suppose if I give money to someone, I would track it, and if I took money from someone, I would forget, and I did not want to do that. So yeah, when we used to lend money, I had trouble remembering what the amount was and what it was for, and it used to pile up. So if I lend someone, then take money from him for something else, and then back and forth happens. So it was difficult to keep a track of transactions. So I created a project called Udhar, where I could. It is a clone of Splitwise, if you know Splitwise, the app. So I created its clone to manage my debt. So these are two real world problems that I solved using my projects. So if you see a problem that you think you can solve, try to solve it. If you can't find of anything, clone a popular website. So you can make a Netflix clone, you can make a WhatsApp clone, although it might be a bit hard to implement. But if you like challenges, it's a good one. You can make a social media website. There are many examples. You can make a marketplace. I had a video in Django where it was building a marketplace like Amazon. Okay, deploy your apps on render.com. Once you have built it, deploy it, render. Heroku used to be a good place to deploy your websites, but then they stopped their free service. So render.com is what I have found. It is similar to Heroku. You can have a database. You can deploy your websites. Always create a README file in your projects. You can see my README files in my projects. Not all of them might have, but then the projects which I want people to see, I usually keep a README file there, which will have a description of what it is, how it works. It should have instructions to build or to deploy. So if someone wants to try it out for themselves, there should be instructions for that. Also, record a demo of your project, include it in your. Oh, did I mention resume here? So sorry, this should not be resume, it should be README. So record a video demo of your project, include it in your README file, not your resume. I will correct it later. Okay. So uh, recording a video of it will help anyone who is looking to hire you will have a clear idea that you built the project yourself, you know how it was built, how it works. And once they go to try it out, they will have instructions on how to do that. So that really helps. Also, it shows your dedication towards your project that you not only went ahead and created a README file for it, you deployed, but also you created a video of it, included in your resume. That shows your dedication. So do that. Any questions? Copyright or piracy while creating a project? If you implement an idea and not take any artifacts from the website, such as logo. So don't keep the same logo as what Netflix or YouTube has. Make your own logo. That would be strictly under piracy or trademark violations. There's another thing called patent, which is copying an idea. And sure, you might be under it, but no one is going to sue you for having 10 users or having 0 users just as a hobby project. But if your project starts getting multiple people and it starts scaling and then you want to convert it to a startup, you might have to worry about it. Your LinkedIn has a lot of internships. How you manage? Okay, I'll answer this later. It will come in the further slides. What motivates you to work hard and consistently? Okay, so what motivates me? I like web development and I like solving problems. And that is my job here at Google. So I have converted my hobby into my job, and that helps me every day to work hard. Maybe not. I don't work as hard as I should be working, maybe, but it helps me not get bored of it. Revti asks, what about their contents? Could you be more specific?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, myself Ronak Ravani from second year. So I have
Mhm.
recently stepped into learning web development,
Mhm.
and while going through Quora, someone has recommended to learn backend first, and he has mentioned to learn Python or other programming language like JavaScript, and then after stepping into front end development. Is this a good idea?
In my opinion, no. You should learn front end first, because when you learn front end, you realize the need of backend. Also, don't follow Quora for everything.
Thank you, sir.
Quora has a lot of conflicting opinions, and basically don't trust it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Do we have to worry about copyright, and what about the content? So don't have copyright infringing content on your website. Like, don't just copy an image or a video from somewhere else, try to make them yourself. And you don't have to really worry about it unless you start getting many users and you become a startup. You don't have to actually worry about that. Okay, any other questions? uh okay, I see one here about GCP. How impactful is good lead code score when it comes to off campus? The score is not much impactful, but the experience and knowledge you gain from it is very much impactful. No one is going to see your score and think you are a good coder. They are going to be impressed by your score and will ask you questions accordingly. You have to answer them, and then that will make an impact. Okay, I have solved more than 600 lead code questions in dynamic programming still haunts me. And other inappropriate comments. So I recently saw a very good video on dynamic programming by a channel called Crucible. So watch that video. Yeah, this is the one. And dynamic programming is hard. There are research papers written about it, so don't worry much. Dynamic programming will be hard, will be asked in very hard interviews only. Don't worry about it much. DigitalOcean and GCP will ask you for a credit card. Render does not. That's why I recommended that. Feel free to choose anyone you like. And also, I work for Google Cloud Platform, so my opinion might be biased on it. I actually love it, but then it requires your credit card. Any news? Okay. Share experience about Google at the end. I would like to know for working Google. Okay, this is also at the end. Moving forward, time is 6:54 p.m. So DSA. Should you go for DSA? Should you learn DSA? Ask yourself that question. And in my opinion, you should learn DSA because it will help you not only to get your first job, but also to switch from one company to another. So keep that in mind. I would recommend learning DSA, at least the basics, not the very hard topics. Start with the basics. Try to take a feel of whether you like it or not. Decide accordingly. Remember, practice is much more important and helpful than watching courses or videos for DSA. You actually need to practice. Solve 1 or 2 problems daily. Don't go about solving 10-20 problems a day because you will have trouble remembering what you learned. Now, one good resource is NeetCode 150. So this is neetcode.io. And here is the collection of 150 problem that all link to leetcode.com. So this is what you can follow. So you will have problems in every area. The good thing about this is you can have the solution in Python and you have a video solution included. This website was made by another fellow Google worker, software engineer, I think in Mountain View, California. He actually started making this website before he got placed into Google, but then this website helped him crack the Google interview, so he's now at Google. So this is a collection problem. It has code, it has solution, and code is in multiple languages. You can change language from here. So it has Python, C++, everything. So go here, solve 1-2 problems daily, and see how you like DSA. Also, don't spend much time on one single problem, fixating on how to solve it. If you can't solve a problem, try to look at the solution, try to learn from it. Because mostly problems get repeated in an interview. Interviews usually, not every time, usually ask you questions that have already been asked. I hope my audio is clear still. It
Yes,
is,
sir.
right? Okay. So still, so I'm against taking a course for DSA, but still, if you need a course, here is a torrent to NeetCode's paid course, and don't tell anyone about it. Just use the torrent. It might be illegal, but I'm recommending it. Internships. So our learning part is all. Audio is getting repeated. Okay, it's not now. So internships. Our learning part is completed in the resume skeleton that I showed you. If you have followed along, you will have some skills and some projects. Now comes the internship part. So you will have to apply to a lot of internships and not get discouraged by not getting selected. Don't be afraid of it. You will hear back from 1 in 5 applications that you make, out of which maybe 1 in 50 you will reach the interview, and then depends on your luck and everything, your knowledge, if you land that. Also depends on the requirements of whoever is hiring you. So don't get discouraged by this. Just you will have to apply for many internships per day. I used to apply to around 20 internships a day when I was looking for one. Find opportunities on LinkedIn, Go Careers, also Internshala, but Internshala has some very low quality internships. So mm, try to skim through all these three. Go Careers is a Telegram channel which has very good collection of internships, and then it has updates every day. So take reference if possible. If you know someone in that company, grow your LinkedIn circle so that you know more people, and then there's a higher chance that you will know someone. This applies to basically bigger companies. So if you know someone there, you can ask for a referral. So someone asked a question about how I have so many internships. Now this comes down to two things. One was I wanted confidence when I was sitting for placements. So internships were like mock interview for me. So just for the sake of it, I used to apply to many and then sit for many interviews, whether I got selected or not. The other thing is it improved my communication skills because they are also important. And and it gives you a lot of confidence, trust me. Once you have given around 50-30 interviews, you will have confidence. So I have so many I have so many internships in my resume because I sat for a lot of interviews because I wanted to sit for interviews, and then I got those. So I did not work long at one single internship. I used to spend around 2-3 months in every internship and then go to another one. So that's why you see so many. Okay. Other CS topics. Now you might be asked operating systems, computer networks, and DBMS questions in your interview. These I think should be prepared at last. In internship, I don't think many companies ask these questions. This is more relevant for your final full-time job interviews. So try to prepare for them at last. And in my opinion, these are things I tend to forget upon learning. So just before an interview, I'll try to watch these videos, and I have some notes from those videos which I refer just to learn those for the sake of the interview, and then I forget after the interview ends. So these are 3 playlists that are actually good. Next, English proficiency. To improve my English proficiency, I used to sit for many interviews for internships. And here are some points. Have regular mock group discussions. So yeah, I was a part of IET club at the college, and we used to have weekly group discussions. That helped me a lot while building my communication skills. Try to talk in English more among your friends, in your class, in your lectures, everywhere. Try to talk in English more. Give a lot of interviews, preferably for internships. That will help you boost your confidence, and it will be a test for how good your communication skills are. Watching English movies and series might help if you are in first or second year. If you want to watch a movie and it is available in English, try to watch it in English. Use subtitles. That helps a lot. That also helped me learn the accent, the British or the American accent. Once I had, once I could watch the video, listen to it in English, and understand what it said, it became very easy to follow tutorials that were made by same American and British people on YouTube. So even if you know English, if you know the accent, it helps while you are watching a tutorial. It will become very easy to understand those videos. Okay, this is the end. Let's go back to questions again. Okay, so in Google, are there any branch restrictions? I am from civil engineering. So no, not at Google, but at many companies there are. At the size of Google, it becomes more of a PR thing, where if they prefer CSIT graduates only, it looks bad. So they just advertise that it is not. If a CS branch person is required for that role, they will not mention it, but they will prefer a CS person. So this is the reality now. Other companies, yes, many job offers will say CSIT or related branch. Civil is not a related branch. What you can do here is land a good internship, then try to convert that internship to a full-time offer. Once people know about your work, they will be happy to hire you regardless of your branch. Once you are hired in your first job, from then onwards, for switching to going to your next job, your branch will not matter. Whatever work you did in your previous job matters more. So keep that in mind. Only the first job offer is important. Getting the first full-time job. Once you cross that barrier, it will be easy. Does being knight on lead code enough to push and okay, being a knight on lead code, I have not solved enough lead code questions to know what a knight is. So I don't know. Nishikant Mandal. Okay. Should a machine learning engineer learn DSA? In my opinion, yes. There are some algorithms that use graph and some tree concepts which will be helpful while learning machine learning. But don't focus much on it. Try to learn machine learning, which this is what you are learning. Try to learn DSA on the side if you get the time. Vaidehi. Let's not bring club politics here, Vaidehi. Okay. Any more questions? You can unmute yourself and ask.
Sir, had you got referral?
Yeah, I took referral to apply to Microsoft and a few other companies. For Google, I did not find anyone to give me a referral. So yeah, that's it. Any more questions? And there were some questions about Google culture before and some personal questions. I'll try to answer them. You can unmute anytime and ask if you have a question.
Sir, for how much product-based company interviews have you appeared? And what is the key that you can say that's the most important?
How many product based? If you see recognizable prominent companies, I have appeared for Amazon, I have appeared for Google interview. Not that many big companies. Otherwise, I've appeared for smaller companies, and most of them were product based. Only non-product based company I appeared in was campus placement for TCS Digital, I guess. Otherwise, all of them were product based. And my total would be around 15 interviews for full-time job. Okay. Uh, Share your experience at Google and the work culture over there. Google has one of the best work cultures around the world. And again, it's kind of a PR thing for them because they are such a big company. They need to have a good culture, otherwise people will come running after them. So, but still, Google has the best work culture. We respect each other regardless of our roles or levels. I can be very frank with my manager. People here are very helping towards any issue you face. I can ask anyone for help. I can contact anyone. Even Sundar, I can message, but then he may not reply because he's busy. We have internal all hands meetings where people can ask questions directly to the CEO. So yeah, culture is great. Perks are great. Hmm.
Sir, one
Okay.
more question.
Hmm.
So can you tell us what was the walkthrough you go through? Like in first year, what did you focused on, and in second year, and third and fourth, what
Okay.
was your walkthrough?
Okay. I'll tell you my story and try not to learn too much from it because I made some mistakes. So in my first year, I was interested in Java and Python. Java I had studied in my 10th standard. So I wanted to learn more about it. I was learning, but then I realized that Java might not help me much, and it would be easier if I learn uh, Python. So I started learning Python. During that time, I got interested a bit in AI and machine learning, and I started a course on machine learning. There, I realized there was a graph problem at play. Also, there was a sorting problem at play, and I did not know that the sorting algorithm I was using was O of n square instead of O of n log n, which was causing slowdowns in my programs. Once I learned that, I then discovered what actually DSA is. I did not know before. So I realized maybe I'll have to learn DSA sometime. Going further during the semester, I kept learning Python. Once the second semester, like the first year ended, I had a semester break. That time I decided to learn data structures and algorithms. I took a Coursera course. It is taught by UC San Diego. It is a 6 course long specialization on Coursera. I completed it. I completed half of it during my semester break. The other half I completed in the next semester. After that, we were in second year, and I was making some projects. I was learning Django and trying to make some project. When pandemic struck, we all went home. That's when I took web development seriously. Started learning it again. I had some idea from before, basic HTML and CSS. I learned those again, and then in the next 6-7 months, I got good at web development and got a very good internship in that. That internship continued for next 6 months was the course. So that internship included a course which they would teach. It was in partnership with AICTE. It was a pilot program, and that's where the Pupil First school I was recommending comes from. I learned there on that platform. So it was a 6-month course. Then I moved on to completing an internship with them. That internship again lasted 6 months, and then I reached my third year. In my third year, I started applying for more internships because I needed more internships on my resume, and I landed 3-4 internships. I kept hopping from one internship to another every 3-4 months. That's how my third year ended. In my final year, I got one internship at a startup which was ready to offer me ESOPs. If you don't know ESOP, you should search about it. It's a partial restricted share in a company. So if the company does well in future, you get rewarded much more than your salary. And it was an early stage startup that I worked for. They were paying well because that time venture capital had more money to throw around, which is not the case in this market. So during that time, I got an offer at Google and I got a campus placement at Samsung. So it was sorted out. So I left that internship and took some rest for a while. That's how my 4 years journey has been. Hopefully, I did not bore you with it.
No, sir.
How
It
can I
was
apply
interesting to
for
hear.
Google off campus? Go to careers.google.com. You will have roles listed there if there are any. Recently, Google fired 12,000 employees, so it's again bad PR to be advertising for more roles there. So wait for a while, roles will open up. Again, similarly, you will have career websites. Moving on. Any other questions?
Sir, can you share your interview experience at Google?
Uh, I don't remember much of it. It was 3 technical rounds and 1 HR round. During the technical rounds, there were technical questions regarding Linux operating systems. My role is not actually software engineering, so questions were a bit different. There was no DSA in my interview because that is for software engineering. We were asked questions about web development, deployments, server management, Linux configuration, networking, basics of Python. Yeah, that is what they asked.
So how much you were good at CP?
I still am not good at CP. I am really afraid of it, to be honest. And also DSA and CP are two different things. At DSA, I'm good at, kind of. Like I have to search a bit and then I can solve problems. That's where I'm at. Competitive programming, no. That is not my thing, I realized. So I'm not good at it.
So what
Any
do
more
you think?
My
questions?
question, my question is how to manage theoretical and coding in a first year.
Coding and what?
Uh,
You are breaking off.
So how
So
much
how did
history
you?
did
My
you
question was how to
have
manage
through
theoretical
both
subject and
semesters?
coding
Okay,
both in a
okay.
first year.
Yeah, your course and your coding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, let me say this off the record. Don't quote me. Don't say anywhere that I said this. I used to bunk a lot of my classes. In my branch, my attendance was below 10%. So the path I used to manage both of things is I ignored one of them. Not a very good strategy, trust me. But I did that anyway. Coming to your case, yes. How do you manage them? Try to take time out for this, and whenever semester exams come, you can study for semesters and pass that. That applies only if you are interested in getting a job in IT sector, because college education does not prepare you for IT sector. Don't quote me
You're
on
right.
this. This is completely unofficial, me saying this, please. Okay. Nisha, ask your question. You have raised your hand.
So my voice is audible.
Yes, it is.
So which language is more preferred for learning web development?
I gave you two of my preferred languages, Python and JavaScript. Choose one of them. Both of them are equally good.
Okay, sir. So when we can learn Java or C++, like for extra.
Yeah, of course you can. With Java, there is one framework called Spring Boot for web development, and it is used mostly by enterprises. it is for web development. It will be much easier if you learn Python or Node.js. But yeah, if you like a language, please go ahead and learn it.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
So how much CGPA did you had in your academics?
Let me see. 8.3. And I had 2 straight 9 CGPAs during the pandemic. We all know the reason why. Otherwise, it would have been around 7.6.
Sir, adding up to that question, sir, did your CGPA help in cracking your interview?
No, none of them.
So,
It did help me qualify for on-campus placements. There was one Yamaha came in our year, which mandated an 8.0 plus CGPA. I did not have 8 CGPA back then, so I could not appear for that. Rest of them were like 7.5 CGPA above, and I qualified for them. It helps you qualify, but for IT roles, I don't think any company cares about your CGPA.
So, what type of questions are asked in web development internships?
Mostly about the language you are familiar with. So if you are familiar with Python, they'll ask you Python questions and then Django questions if you're familiar with Django. It all depends on your learning. They will have networking questions related to web development, such as what is an IP address, how do you deploy a web project, and how networking works, how DNS works. That is covered under computer networking. Apart from that, whatever you know, your interviewer will take that into account to ask questions.
So, what exactly is technical solution engineering?
Okay, so have you tried to contact any company's customer support?
Yes, sir.
So Google Cloud also has customer support, which is mostly vendorized and outsourced to companies like Infosys and EPAM in Japan. Now they are customer support agents who sit who sit in shifts, and whenever a customer asks a question, they solve it. Now there are 2 different cases for it. One is we have some premium customers like Flipkart, Spotify, Geo. The IPL was being streamed for Google Cloud platform this year. So Geo Cinema completely runs on Google Cloud. Now these customers pay extra to have access to Google engineers because they want someone from Google if they face any problems. So that's where we come in. Technical solutions engineer take cases from these premium customers, our top 50 premium customers. That is our secondary role. Our primary role is developing tools and scripts for our customer support engineers. So there are some common tasks and there are some internal dashboards, tools that need to be developed so that our customer support engineers can solve customer queries. We build those tools and we directly get involved with our premium customers to solve their issues.
Thank you, sir.
So what do you think? What was the best thing in your interview that get you into Google?
Good question. One good thing was my interviewer was impressed by the project I made. So that helped me a lot. And also I told them about how passionate I am towards open source and Linux, which also helped me because the person who was interviewing me was also interested in this. So he asked a few further questions and I answered them. Any more questions?
So in open source, how much contributions have you made, or so how to get into that?
Okay, good question. So what you can do is try to learn web development or learn any programming language. So you will find yourself using some programs or some libraries in that language. go ahead and look into that library or that tool that you are using in that language. And if you find any issue with it, or if you have a feature that could be implemented, you can go into the GitHub issues and ask them if they are considering it and if they would like you to work on it. That's how you can get in. There are issues marked as I am forgetting the tag name. It's good first issue. Yeah, good first issue. If you see some issues marked as good first issue, you can try to look into it. And most projects have a Discord server or a Slack channel where you can join in and then ask questions. You can, or a Telegram channel. So you can go there, ask them that, hey, I want to work on this and can you help me get started? And open source projects are actually looking for contributors, so they'll help you. Any more questions? I'll take questions for 6 more minutes, then I'll have to go.
And
Of
sir,
course, I will.
about Linux.
About?
Linux, sir.
What about Linux?
How much were you proficient and how to start with that?
Install Linux on your laptop, start exploring it. There's no better way. How much proficient I am? I love Linux. I'm using Linux right now. And I would, given a choice, I would recommend everyone to use Linux in the world. And I think Windows is the worst thing that happened to mankind. Again, keep in mind that I'm biased.
So my question is,
Hmm.
for getting IT job, are students get problem if they have core branches like civil, chemical?
For campus placements, yes, I have seen that. Many companies come in and say only CSIT, EC, and electrical are allowed. The solution to that is get a good internship, as I said before, land a good internship, work hard on that internship, try to prove yourself that you are a good coder, good programmer, and you can work as well as any other branch engineer. Once you have proved that to your colleagues and your manager, they'll try to keep you in the company. Once you have the first full-time job, it's easy to switch them.
Like, sir, we will get problem in placing service-based company also, sir.
Service-based companies don't usually discriminate on the base of branch, but the problem is they are banking on the fact that you are not from CSIT. They are taking advantage of the fact that you are not able to find jobs at any other product-based companies. In my opinion, and this is strictly my opinion, please keep that in mind, everyone. Product-based companies are the companies that value you. Service-based companies are there to exploit you, to get more work out of you, and pay you less. Again, don't quote me on this, but that's how I feel. Any more questions, or should we end?
So can we reach out to you in future on LinkedIn to get our resumes verified by you?
Yeah, you can, but I might not have much time. I don't go to LinkedIn much. So, but I get emails whenever someone messages. So I try my best to look at it, but I can't guarantee that I'll be able to.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions?
Sir, shall we get more webinars on the other days?
From me? Is it Ritesh who is asking this question?
Sir, it's me.
Okay. So yeah, I'll try to find time to do more webinars. If you want me to, ask Ritesh. We'll discuss that. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so in the interest of time, let's try to end this here. Going for questions once. Anyone has any questions, you can ask me. Going for questions twice. Going for questions thrice.
So,
Yeah.
so may you discuss the roadmap to go in Android development?
I don't know Android development, so I'm not the best person to ask, actually.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, bye then. Have a nice day. It was nice having you all, except for the people who kept trying to use obscene language. Have a nice day. Bye.
Good night, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot
Bye, sir.
for your guidance.
Thank you,
Thank
sir,
you,
for
sir.
your valuable time. We now have reached to the end of our session. We hope the discussion and insights shared here today have been valuable to you all. We would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our speaker for his time. Thank you so much, sir.